Things I learned in 2016. 1. Treat yourself. Go online shopping and buy yourself those clothes you feel cute and confident in, and those books that you've always wanted to read. Allow yourself to feel content with your investments because you shouldn't feel guilty for satisfying your cravings and indulgences every once in a while, especially after a long day. I used to feel so bad about buying coffee at Starbucks, but I've learned to let that go because it's the least I can do for myself. This also means that I become more proactive about trying new things and searching for unfamiliar places, like going to a brunch place with a friend and savoring the avocado toast, or journaling in a coffee shop I haven't been to before, visiting places like the new Museum of Contemporary Art in New York and the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum in Boston, gaining the courage to go on roller coaster rides at Six Flags and to join your friends on an ice skating outing before finals week, or going to your first college football game and then actually having the time of your life at Harvard Yale 2 months later, or canoeing in Western Massachusetts during fall retreat. Be spontaneous and allow yourself the love that you know you deserve. 2. Writing is your greatest strength. I've always been a huge writer since I was a little girl, but it was only since February of this year that I started journaling seriously in my moleskin notebook that my younger brother got me for Christmas in 2015. And it's one of the best things I've done for myself. Not only did it make me fall in love with moleskin, but I've also learned the value of keeping records and documenting emotions. Feelings are a real thing, and they're significant enough to make up your identity. In August, I was also invited to a summer writers retreat at the Penguin Random House headquarters, and I can't completely describe the amount of fulfillment that it gave me. To keep things short, I became a whole new person that summer because I overcame my fear of labels and boundaries out of my identity. I became proud to call myself a writer. 3. It's hard to say goodbye, but cheers to new beginnings as well. This past year had an abundant mixture of both. I graduated from Stuyvesant High School in June and signed off yearbooks for hours. I gave hugs and waved goodbye to people with an overwhelming uncertainty regarding whether I would ever see them again. Every time I had to leave home to go back to Harvard, I had to make my departure from my family as abrupt as possible so that I wouldn't have time to start feeling lonely as the bus whisked me away to a new chapter of my life in Cambridge, Massachusetts. I broke someone's heart, and in turn my stability shattered, but strength came upon me like an unforeseen weapon, and I was blessed with so many new friendships. Life feels so young and fruitful, constantly evolving, and I can't wait to see how people around me will continue to transform my perspective of the world. 4. It's okay to stop and stare. I'm a people watcher. I like looking at people, especially strangers, and trying to figure out what their situation is, what their lives are like, where they're from. This past year, I've taught myself the value of this practice. Watch all the people around you on the subway. Sit down at a cafe and eavesdrop into the conversations being fleshed out. Absorb the stories that you're witnessing. Observe the beauty of your city and the skyscrapers and flashing lights. It's all one gigantic masterpiece that I'm so fortunate to say that I live in. From time to time, I cherish the moments when I could soak in the sun and fall in leaves in the pure rawness of nature. I took advantage of every opportunity to look up at the bed of stars hugging my globe at 3 a.m., especially once I escaped New York City, and the twinkling dots weren't so hidden anymore. 5. God is so good. After such a prolonged period of not being part of a church at home, I was incredibly blessed to come to college and find brothers and sisters in Christ while discovering a fellowship where I felt comfortable and belonging. It's hard to describe, but I'm so thankful to feel such an immensely deep connection with other Christians on campus. A week before I left for college in August, I also had the chance to sing praise and worship with Hillsong United, since they were holding their conference in Brooklyn, New York. Safe to say that it was one of the most glory-filled nights that I've ever experienced in my life. I can't wait to see how God will work through me in the upcoming year. So this past year was one wild ride. Like any other year, there were ups and there were downs. A lot of doors might have been closed shut on me, but I'm patiently waiting for new stairways to be built. Some things I'm proud to have accomplished in 2016 include donating blood twice, once in January and once in March, because I was finally old enough and healthy enough to meet the qualifications. Another thing, which might seem obvious, but it's still a big thing to me, is that I got into college. More importantly, I started college, so I'm just hopping along now, enjoying what's to come. I remember that getting into college was one of my biggest goals a year ago, as I was a second-term senior in high school, desperately seeking to get into my dream school and have all of my years of studying become worth it. The year didn't go exactly as I had planned because plot twists happened and my dream school changed into the unexpected. But I'm so happy and in love with where I am now, and I wouldn't change a thing. In 2016, I also dyed my hair lighter, and although I'm planning on going even lighter sometime soon, I'm happy with how I look now. I'm really starting to love my appearance and accept myself for who I am, looking in the mirror and thinking that I'm fine with the person looking back at me. Ever since I was little, I had this bad habit of starting new notebooks and journals and leaving them unfinished. Since the summer of 2015, I was able to finish 2 journals, and I'm well committed to sticking to the one I use right now until I reach the end. Time is running out in the hourglass. 2017 is fast approaching, and I think a lot of us are ready to welcome a new fresh start with open arms. I know that many of us are skeptical of New Year's resolutions because, let's be real, how many times has New Year, New Me actually succeeded? Obviously, it doesn't work with the flip of a switch, but I think there's still value in the effort to transform an aspect of your life that you're not happy with, to target what's bringing you down and focus on building yourself up. As for myself, I'm still working on coming up with resolutions for the new year, so I'm going to start off small. 2 things I will work on in the transition to 2017. 1. Take better care of myself, physically and mentally. In my first semester of college, I was sick for a whole month and barely survived. I was sleep deprived, skipping meals due to a loss of appetite, and neglecting my relationships with other people. What hurt me more is that I wasn't able to make room in my busy day to reflect. Self-reflection is so valuable to me because that's when I'm able to clear my mind and recognize my emotions. I'm hoping to allow myself some healing time next semester. 2. Try this new attitude where you're not afraid of being vulnerable to others. A lot of my closest friends know that I act tough in the face of struggle, and I don't like showing people unfinished works, like unedited photos or raw sketches. I'm going to try to get over my pride and dignity, and I know that I'll still be okay. So I watched a documentary last night and ended with this amazing line that I immediately scribbled onto my journal. It reads, "When you recognize that this life is yours, that it is your one and only, and when that ceases to be esoteric bullshit, when that's not hippie poetry anymore, when the pragmatism of that statement seeps directly in your bones, and you recognize that this is it, everything changes. There's no way of predicting the future, but there are ways to make it your year. Peace out 2016, it's been real. 2017, let's go kick some ass."